How to actually get a girlfriend. The real process. Nobody talks about. Getting a girlfriend isn't about following some mysterious formula, unlocking hidden secrets, or memorizing cringy pickup lines from the internet. It's much simpler than that. But here's the catch. It requires you to actually put in the work on yourself first. Most guys want the end result without the process, but the process is exactly what makes the result possible. What I'm about to share isn't the same tired advice you've probably seen before. It's not about tricking someone into liking you, and it's definitely not about acting like a version of yourself that isn't real. This is about building yourself into someone who attracts the right kind of partner naturally. And the truth is, most guys are approaching this completely backwards. They're looking for shortcuts, hacks, or magic lines when what they really need is a fundamental shift in how they view relationships, women, and even themselves. If you can commit to working through these steps with honesty and patience, you'll notice that not only do women become more interested in you, but you'll also feel far more confident and fulfilled in your own life. Let's break it down. Step 1. Become genuinely interesting. If you take nothing else from this, remember this. You cannot expect anyone to want to invest time in you if you're not worth spending time with. That may sound harsh, but it's actually empowering because it's 100% in your control. Being interesting isn't about being fake or trying to impress others with superficial achievements. It's about developing hobbies, passions, and skills that make you feel alive. Ask yourself honestly, if I met myself at a party, would I want to hang out with me? If the answer is no, that's your first clue. Start small. Pick up activities you've always been curious about. Maybe you've thought about learning guitar, trying martial arts, getting into photography, joining a local hiking club, or taking a cooking class. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as you genuinely enjoy it. Here's the key. Don't pick something just because you think it will look good or make you attractive. People can spot fakeness a mile away. Real passion, on the other hand, is magnetic. When you talk about something you're genuinely into, your energy shifts. Your eyes light up. Your confidence naturally grows. And people, including women, are drawn to that. Step 2. Take care of yourself. Looks aren't everything, but taking care of your appearance and health is a big piece of the puzzle. And not because you need to be a shredded bodybuilder. It's about what your choices communicate. When you exercise regularly, eat decently, and dress in a way that flatters you, you're sending a message. I respect myself enough to take care of myself. That kind of self-respect radiates confidence. Start with the basics. Practice good hygiene every single day. Wear clean clothes that actually fit your body type. Find a grooming style that works for you. Haircuts, beard trimming, skincare, these matter. Get active in a way that's sustainable for you. Maybe that's lifting weights, maybe it's swimming, maybe it's running, or even just long walks. The point isn't perfection, it's consistency. When you respect yourself, it's easier for others to respect you too. Step 3. Learn to be comfortable with yourself. This is where most guys struggle. They're so focused on winning approval from others that they never actually get comfortable being alone. But here's the truth. If you can't stand your own company, why should anyone else want to spend time with you? This step is about building inner stability. Learn to enjoy time without your phone, without constant entertainment, and without needing validation. Try journaling. Try meditation. Try going on a solo coffee run without music blasting in your ears. It might feel uncomfortable at first. That's the point. Ask yourself some deeper questions. What values actually matter to me? What kind of man do I want to be? What goals do I have that aren't related to dating? The more clarity you have about who you are and what you stand for, the more attractive you become. Why? Because purpose is magnetic. People gravitate toward those who know where they're going. Step 4. Expand your social circles, naturally. You don't need to hit bars every night or download every dating app known to man. What you need is to put yourself in environments where you naturally meet people who share your interests. Remember those hobbies from step 1? They're not just fun, they're your bridge to new communities. Join a local photography group, volunteer at a charity you care about, take cooking classes, or join a recreational sports league. These environments are perfect for meeting new people in a natural, pressure-free way. And don't underestimate the power of your existing network. Be more social with your friends. Accept invitations. Go to gatherings where you can meet friends of friends. Most couples meet through shared social circles, not cold approaches. The key here is to stop hunting for a girlfriend and instead focus on becoming a more social, outgoing person in general. When you live that kind of lifestyle, relationships tend to happen naturally. Step 5. Develop real conversation skills. Forget scripted pickup lines. Real conversations are where connection happens. And the good news is, conversation is a skill you can learn. The basics are simple. Listen actively. Don't just wait for your turn to talk. Ask follow-up questions. If she mentions she likes hiking, ask where her favorite trail is or what her best hiking story is. Share your own experiences honestly. Let people see the real you. Be present. Don't fidget with your phone. Make eye contact. And here's a big one. Stop trying to say what you think people want to hear. Say what you actually mean. Authenticity is the filter that separates the people who aren't right for you from the ones who are. When you talk to women, treat them like people, not targets. Talk to them the same way you'd talk to a buddy. That relaxed energy will do more for you than any rehearsed line ever could. Step 6. Reframe rejection. Rejection is where most guys crash and burn. They take it personally and spiral into negativity. But rejection is not failure, it's feedback. If a woman isn't interested, it doesn't mean you're unworthy. It just means she wasn't the right match. Every interaction teaches you something. Maybe about your approach, maybe about what you actually want, maybe about what you don't. Here's a mindset shift. View rejection as redirection. Each no moves you closer to a yes that actually matters. When you stop fearing rejection, you eliminate the desperate energy that pushes people away. Ironically, the less you fear it, the less it tends to happen. Step 7. Focus on genuine connections. Not every woman you meet has to be a potential girlfriend. Some will become friends, some will become mentors, some will just be cool people you met once. And that's okay. When you stop obsessing over turning every interaction into something romantic, you open yourself up to building real, meaningful connections. Many great relationships actually start as friendships. Here's a mental trick. When you talk to a beautiful woman, remind yourself, yes, she's attractive, but what's her personality like? This simple shift puts you in the mindset of evaluating her, rather than hoping she'll approve of you. Position yourself as the prize. Because you are. You're the guy working on himself, building his life and living with purpose. When you do feel a genuine spark, be upfront. Don't try to sneak into a relationship by hiding your intentions. If you're interested, be clear, but also respectful. Step 8. Respect timing and context. Sometimes you'll meet someone incredible who just isn't in the right place for a relationship. Sometimes you won't be ready. That doesn't mean anyone failed, it just means timing matters. Focus on preparing yourself so that when the right situation comes, you're ready. That means practicing emotional maturity, learning how to communicate openly, and developing the ability to support someone else while maintaining your own independence. Step 9. Be patient with the process. This might be the hardest step in our instant gratification world. Building real connections takes time. The healthiest relationships often grow slowly. Don't pressure yourself with timelines or beat yourself up if it doesn't happen overnight. Desperation is unattractive in any form. The more content you are with your life, the less you need a girlfriend to validate you. That's when you become the most attractive, because you're offering to share a fulfilling life, not begging someone to fill a void. The real secret, and here's the kicker, the real secret is that there is no secret. Healthy, lasting relationships happen when two people who are both working on themselves decide to build something together. Stop chasing gimmicks. Focus on becoming the type of man you'd want to date if you were on the other side. Invest in yourself. Build your confidence. Expand your social circles. Be authentic. And then when the right person crosses your path, you'll be ready. Because at the end of the day, getting a girlfriend isn't about luck, hacks, or tricks. It's about becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts love. Have you ever wondered what people mean when they say, "he's the man"? It's not just about money, looks, or social status. It's a whole vibe. It's the guy who walks into a room and everyone notices, even if he doesn't say a word. The guy other men respect, and the guy women are drawn to without even fully understanding why. And here's the truth. Becoming the man isn't about luck. It's about developing certain qualities and living them out every day. Today, I'm going to break down the 10 steps you need to take to become that man. And spoiler alert, number 7 will flip your idea of self-respect on its head, while number 10 is the one most guys completely ignore. And it's the difference between being respected for a season and being remembered for a lifetime. Let's dive in. 1. Build unshakable confidence, not fake confidence. The foundation of being the man starts with confidence, but not the kind where you puff your chest out and pretend you're better than everyone. Real confidence is quiet, steady, and grounded. Think of it like this. Fake confidence is loud because it needs to convince people. Real confidence is calm because it doesn't need to prove anything. How do you build it? By doing hard things consistently. Go to the gym when you don't feel like it. Speak up in that meeting. Push yourself into uncomfortable conversations. Every time you prove to yourself you can handle difficulty, your confidence becomes unshakable. And trust me, women notice. Men respect it. And most importantly, you feel it. Try to get your money right. Let's be real. Money isn't everything, but being broke is exhausting. Becoming the man means taking financial responsibility seriously. You don't need to be a millionaire, but you do need to be in control. Start with the basics. Save, invest, get out of debt. Build multiple income streams if you can. The man isn't the guy flashing a rented Lamborghini. He's the guy who can handle his life without leaning on anyone else. Financial stability doesn't just give you freedom, it gives you options. And nothing is more attractive than a man who has options. 3. Master your body. Let's cut through the noise. Your body is the billboard of how you live your life. If you're out of shape, low energy, and tired all the time, nobody looks at you and thinks, that's the man. You don't need to look like a fitness model, but you do need to look capable. Lift weights. Eat food that fuels you, not food that drains you. Sleep like your future depends on it, because it does. Your physical presence speaks before you open your mouth. Walk into a room strong, healthy, and carrying yourself like you belong there, and people treat you differently. 4. Develop unstoppable discipline. If confidence is the foundation, discipline is the structure. Discipline is what separates men who talk from men who do. The man doesn't need constant motivation. He builds systems. He has non-negotiables. Maybe that means hitting the gym no matter what. Maybe it's reading 10 pages a day. Maybe it's working on his business every night instead of wasting hours scrolling. People respect discipline because it's rare. Most men fold when life gets inconvenient. The man doesn't. And that's why he stands out. 5. Learn social mastery. Here's the truth. You could have money, looks, and muscles, but if you can't connect with people, you'll never be the man. Social mastery isn't about being the funniest or loudest guy. It's about knowing how to make people feel good in your presence. It's eye contact, listening, telling stories, making people laugh, and knowing when to shut up. Want to test this? Next time you're out, notice how people react when you enter a conversation. Do they lean in, or do they look for an exit? If it's the latter, you've got work to do. The man knows how to move in any room, from a bar to a boardroom, and make people remember him. 6. Find your purpose and pursue it relentlessly. Without purpose, you're drifting. And drifting men never become the man. Your purpose doesn't have to be saving the world. It just has to be something bigger than you, something you wake up for, something that pulls you forward when life gets heavy. Maybe it's building your business. Maybe it's creating art. Maybe it's providing for your family at the highest level. Whatever it is, lock onto it and pursue it with everything you have. The man has direction, and people are naturally drawn to leaders who know where they're going. 7. Demand respect, starting with yourself. Here's where most guys get it wrong. They want respect from others, but don't even respect themselves. Respect starts with your standards. Do you keep promises to yourself? Do you tolerate disrespect from people around you? Do you let bad habits run your life? If the answer is yes, you're sabotaging your ability to be the man. The man doesn't beg for respect. He commands it because his life is proof that he respects himself. He holds boundaries. He walks away from situations that don't align. And because he respects himself, everyone else does too. 8. Control your emotions before they control you. Want to know what instantly makes a man look weak? Losing control of his emotions. The man doesn't throw tantrums when he doesn't get his way. He doesn't sulk. He doesn't blow up in anger at the smallest inconvenience. Instead, he feels his emotions, processes them, and chooses how to respond. Control doesn't mean being emotionless. It means mastering your reactions. A man who can stay calm under pressure, collected when insulted, and strategic when things go wrong, that man is rare, and he's respected. 9. Build an abundant lifestyle. Being the man means you don't just survive, you thrive. You fill your life with experiences, hobbies, and relationships that make you richer as a person. Travel. Learn new skills. Play an instrument. Cook. Train martial arts. Build a network of people who inspire you. When you have an abundant lifestyle, people feel it when they're around you. You don't need to brag, your life speaks for itself. Women feel drawn to it. Men want to be part of it. Abundance makes you magnetic. 10. Leave a legacy of integrity. And here's the last one. The piece most men completely miss. Becoming the man isn't just about how people see you today. It's about the mark you leave long after you're gone. Integrity is the difference. Do you keep your word? Do you do the right thing even when nobody's watching? Do people trust you to stand firm when it matters most? The man isn't just remembered for his money, his looks, or his achievements. He's remembered because people could count on him. He was solid. He was real. That's the kind of legacy that makes people say, he wasn't just a man, he was the man. So let's run it back. The 10 steps. Build unshakable confidence. Get your money right. Master your body. Develop discipline. Learn social mastery. Find your purpose. Demand respect. Control your emotions. Build abundance. And live with integrity. That's the blueprint. And here's the thing. You don't need to master all 10 overnight. Start with 1. Build momentum. Stack wins. Before you know it, people around you will look at you differently. You'll walk into a room and they'll feel it. You won't just be another guy. You'll be the dog park, and your pup is being a complete wingman, running over to the cutest human you've ever seen. Perfect setup, right? Except when you get there, instead of saying something charming, you blurt out, "So, do you come here often?" At a dog park. Even your dog rolls his eyes. If this feels a little too familiar, stick around. We're about to fix that confidence problem. Today we're diving into one of the most infamous, cringeworthy, and weirdly fascinating parts of dating culture, the pickup line. You've heard them, you've laughed at them, maybe you've even tried one or two out yourself. But the question is, do they actually work? Or are they just a shortcut to social embarrassment, dressed up in cheesy one-liners? The truth is, movies have been lying to us. In the rom-com world, you walk up to someone, drop a corny line like, "Are you a magician? Because every time I look at you, everyone else disappears." And boom, you're dating, married, and happily ever after in 90 minutes. In real life, you're more likely to get an eye roll, a quick shuffle away, or if you're really unlucky, the kind of awkward silence that could be used as a torture method in medieval times. Here's the thing most people don't realize. There is no such thing as the perfect pickup line. None. Zero. Nada. Research in social psychology and endless real-world examples prove that the words themselves are only a small part of the equation. What matters far more is confidence, timing, and the ability to read the room. In fact, the same exact line can come across as charming or creepy depending entirely on who's saying it, how they're saying it, and when they're saying it. Picture this. If Ryan Gosling walked up to someone and used the cheesiest line in the book, people would probably laugh and go along with it because, well, he's Ryan Gosling. Now imagine the same line coming from a guy in sweatpants, covered in Cheetos dust, looking like he hasn't seen the sun since 2011. Same words, different outcome. Suddenly the line isn't cute, it's just tragic. So why do people use pickup lines at all? Simple, they're terrified of awkward silence. A rehearsed line feels like a safety net. A way to dodge that paralyzing moment when your brain says, say something clever, but your mouth decides to take the day off. Pickup lines are basically the karaoke of dating. Rarely good, often cringe, but sometimes entertaining enough to get the job done. Now, not all pickup lines are created equal. There's the classic cheesy line, things like, "Are you from Tennessee? Because you're the only 10 I see." That one is so old it probably qualifies for senior discounts. Then there are the science nerd lines like, "Are you made of copper and tellurium? Because you're Kute." These can be dangerous, because if the person you're talking to actually knows science, you're toast. Best case, they correct your pronunciation. Worst case, they're a chemistry teacher who tells you that joke is older than the periodic table. Then there are the inappropriate lines, the kind you might hear at 2 a.m. from someone who's had too much tequila. Don't. Just don't. If your line sounds like it belongs in a harassment lawsuit, leave it in the drafts folder. And finally, we have the dad joke lines. "If you were a vegetable, you'd be a cucumber." These are the kinds of lines that create silence so deafening, you can hear your own dignity packing its bags and leaving. So why do most of these fail so spectacularly? It's not the words themselves, it's the message behind them. A cheesy line tells the other person, "I didn't notice anything unique about you. I'm trying too hard to be clever." And by the way, I've probably used this exact same line on 37 other people today. Humans crave authenticity. We want to feel like we matter, like someone actually saw us, not just a walking opportunity to rehearse their TikTok routine. That's why generic lines crash harder than my first attempt at parallel parking. The secret is this: the best pickup lines don't sound like pickup lines at all. They're genuine observations or simple situational comments that spark conversation. Instead of pulling out a canned one-liner like, "Did you just come out of the oven? Because you're hot," it's infinitely better to say something like, "That book looks interesting, what's it about?" Or, "This place has the best playlist, don't you think?" Or even something silly but relevant like, "These tomatoes look suspicious. I think they're plotting something." These kinds of openers work because they're tied to the context. You're showing you're actually present in the moment, paying attention, and curious about the other person. And context doesn't just make you sound more authentic, it also takes the pressure off the other person. A situational comment feels natural and gives them space to respond however they want. There's no pressure to either validate your joke or awkwardly reject your attempt at humor. Instead, it just feels like a normal human conversation. Environment plays a huge role in all this. Bars and clubs might feel like the obvious places to strike up conversation, but honestly, they're some of the worst. They're loud, high pressure, and filled with way too many people competing for attention. It's like trying to have a heart-to-heart on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. Compare that to a bookstore, a farmer's market, or an art gallery. These kinds of places give you built-in conversation starters. You don't need to manufacture a reason to talk. It's already there in front of you. Timing, of course, is the unsung hero of all social interaction. You could have the funniest, most charming observation in the world, but if you deliver it when someone is clearly busy, distracted, or not in the mood, it's going nowhere. Bad timing looks like interrupting someone wearing headphones, or trying to get their attention while they're clearly rushing to be somewhere. Good timing, on the other hand, means noticing when someone seems relaxed, open, and available for a quick exchange. Body language is basically a cheat sheet for this. Open posture, relaxed pace, and eye contact are green lights. Crossed arms, fast walking, or glaring like they're planning your immediate death. Red lights. Humor, when done right, can be powerful, but the trick is using it wisely. Self-deprecating humor works far better than bragging or trying to prove how clever you are. Accidentally spill coffee on yourself and joke, "Well, that's one way to make an impression," and people will laugh with you. Brag about how many people totally loved your lines and you'll come across as desperate. Perfection is boring. Awkwardness is human. Humor is what makes that awkwardness charming. Of course, even if you do everything right, perfect timing, great humor, authentic interest, sometimes people just aren't interested. And that's okay. Rejection is a normal part of human interaction, not a personal indictment of your existence. The key is how you handle it. A simple "no worries, have a great day" will do wonders. It shows respect, maturity, and confidence. Ironically, handling rejection gracefully can make you more attractive in the long run, because it proves you're not needy or pushy. You're simply a person who's comfortable taking chances. At the end of the day, pickup lines aren't about collecting numbers or proving how smooth you are. They're about practicing the art of genuine human connection. The magic formula, if you really want one, is noticing something unique, making a contextual comment, and staying relaxed. That's it. No need for advanced calculus or TikTok-approved scripts. And yet, despite all this, we still love pickup lines. Why? Because they're funny. They're awkward. They give us stories to laugh about later, even when they flop. Sometimes the worst failures make the best memories. And occasionally, a cheesy line can even spark a real conversation, if both people lean into the awkwardness together. Real conversations are messy, imperfect, and often weird. That's exactly what makes them genuine. So maybe the real lesson isn't that pickup lines are dead. It's that we should stop treating them like magic spells and start treating them like what they really are. Icebreakers. They're not supposed to do all the work for you. They're just the opening act. The real connection happens in what comes after. The curiosity, the listening, the back and forth that makes people feel seen and valued. If your line bombs, laugh it off. If you stumble over your words, turn it into part of the joke. Confidence isn't about flawless delivery. It's about being comfortable with imperfection. People respond to authenticity, not polish. Sometimes the funniest, most human moments are the ones that go totally sideways. So, do pickup lines work? Sort of. Sometimes, but not because of the line itself. They work when they break the ice, spark a laugh, or create a moment of connection. They fail when they're forced, rehearsed, or used as a substitute for actual personality. If you take one thing away from this, let it be this. Stop worrying about memorizing clever lines. Start focusing on being genuinely curious about the people around you. Notice the small details. Ask real questions. Pay attention to timing and context. And don't be afraid to embrace the awkwardness. Because in a world that's increasingly digital and disconnected, what people crave most isn't the perfect line, it's the chance to connect with someone real. If you enjoyed this breakdown, or at least got a laugh out of it, hit that like button, subscribe for more dating psychology and confidence tips, and share your funniest or most awkward pickup line stories in the comments. We've all been there, and honestly, those stories are the best part. Until next time, remember, confidence comes from authenticity, not rehearsed scripts. Stay curious, stay awkward, and let real connections happen naturally. What if I told you that every conversation you've ever had was actually a missed opportunity to completely alter the trajectory of your relationships? What if the difference between being forgotten and being unforgettable comes down to 3 psychological principles that most people never even realize exist? Right now, there are people walking among us who seem to possess an almost supernatural ability to turn mundane chatter into magnetic encounters. They're not necessarily the most attractive, the wealthiest, or the most successful in traditional terms. But when they speak, something happens. Rooms lean in. Hearts race. Minds become captivated. And today you're going to discover exactly how they do it. Welcome to the hidden world of conversational alchemy, where words become tools of transformation and ordinary interactions become extraordinary experiences. I'm about to reveal the psychological framework that separates those who command attention from those who desperately seek it. But before we dive deep, let me ask you something. Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling like you somehow became less interesting the moment you opened your mouth? Have you ever watched someone else effortlessly captivate an entire room while you stood there wondering what invisible force field was keeping you on the outside? If so, you're not alone, and more importantly, you're exactly where you need to be. The concept I call conversational alchemy isn't about pickup lines or manipulation tactics. It's about understanding the fundamental psychology of human connection and leveraging it to create genuine intrigue and authentic attraction. Think of it as the difference between a street magician doing card tricks and a master illusionist creating experiences that leave audiences questioning reality itself. The first principle of conversational alchemy revolves around what I call the curiosity gap phenomenon. Most people approach conversations like they're filling out a survey. They ask predictable questions, give predictable answers, and wonder why the interaction feels flat. But master conversationalists understand that the human brain is wired to seek closure for incomplete information. Here's how it works in practice. Instead of asking someone what they do for work, you might say something like, "You strike me as someone who either saves lives or destroys them professionally. I can't quite figure out which." Suddenly, you've created a puzzle that demands solving. You've turned a routine exchange into a game where both parties are actively engaged. The psychology behind this is rooted in something called the Zeigarnik effect, which demonstrates that people remember uncompleted tasks better than completed ones. When you introduce strategic ambiguity into your conversations, you're essentially creating mental tabs that remain open in the other person's mind long after the conversation ends. But here's where most people get it wrong. They think being mysterious means being vague or withholding information entirely. True conversational alchemy involves selective revelation. You give just enough information to intrigue while holding back just enough to maintain curiosity. It's like being a storyteller who reveals plot points at precisely the right moments to keep the audience captivated. The second principle involves what I term emotional resonance mapping. Every person you meet is carrying an invisible emotional frequency, and master conversationalists learn to identify and harmonize with these frequencies rather than imposing their own. This isn't about being fake or manipulative. It's about developing genuine empathy and using it as a tool for deeper connection. Consider this scenario. You're talking to someone who seems confident on the surface, but you notice subtle signs of uncertainty. Maybe they adjust their posture when certain topics come up, or their voice changes slightly when discussing their achievements. A typical conversation would ignore these signals and continue with surface-level exchanges. Conversational alchemy involves gently acknowledging these deeper currents without making the person feel exposed or vulnerable. You might say something like, "It's interesting how passionate you become when you talk about your work, but I sense there's a story behind that passion that not many people get to hear." This type of statement demonstrates that you're paying attention on multiple levels and creates an invitation for deeper sharing without being invasive or presumptuous. The third principle is perhaps the most powerful and the most misunderstood. I call it strategic vulnerability. Most people believe that maintaining an air of perfection or invincibility makes them more attractive. The opposite is actually true. Strategic vulnerability involves selectively sharing aspects of your humanity that create connection and relatability while maintaining your overall attractiveness and confidence. The key word here is strategic. This doesn't mean trauma dumping or oversharing personal problems. It means identifying moments where sharing something real about yourself will create a bridge of connection. Maybe you mention a fear you overcame, a mistake that taught you something valuable, or a moment of doubt that led to growth. These revelations, when timed correctly, transform you from a perfect stranger into a real person worth knowing. But here's the crucial element that separates conversational alchemy from ordinary vulnerability. You don't share these things to gain sympathy or to be rescued. You share them as stepping stones that demonstrate growth, resilience, and self-awareness. You're not the victim of your stories, you're the hero who overcame them. Now let's talk about the practical application of these principles, particularly in situations where you want to create attraction and intrigue. Traditional dating advice often focuses on what to say or how to act, but conversational alchemy focuses on how to think and perceive. When you change your internal framework, your external behavior naturally becomes more compelling. Instead of trying to impress someone with your accomplishments, you become genuinely curious about their inner world. Instead of worrying about saying the right thing, you focus on creating the right emotional experience. Instead of performing a version of yourself you think others want to see, you reveal the most interesting aspects of who you actually are. This shift in perspective creates what I call the authenticity paradox. The more genuinely yourself you become, the more magnetic you appear to others. But this only works when your authentic self is someone you've actually invested time and energy into developing. You can't fake authenticity, but you can cultivate it by becoming someone worth being authentic about. One of the most powerful techniques within conversational alchemy involves what I term assumption reframing. Instead of asking direct questions, you make intelligent assumptions based on observation and invite the other person to either confirm or correct them. This creates a dynamic where both parties are actively participating in the conversation, rather than one person interviewing the other. For example, instead of asking where someone is from, you might say, "You have this interesting energy that makes me think you either grew up somewhere completely different from here, or you're one of those rare people who managed to stay curious despite growing up in a place that tries to make everyone the same." This approach is more engaging because it demonstrates that you're actually paying attention and thinking about who they might be as a person. The psychological principle at work here is called the Benjamin Franklin effect, which suggests that people tend to like others who give them opportunities to do small favors or corrections. When you make thoughtful assumptions, you're giving the other person a chance to share more about themselves, while feeling like they're teaching you something in the process. But perhaps the most important aspect of conversational alchemy is understanding the difference between being interested and being interesting. Most people focus entirely on trying to appear interesting through their stories, accomplishments, or wit. Master conversationalists focus on being genuinely interested in others, while strategically revealing their own depth and complexity. This creates a psychological phenomenon where people walk away from conversations with you feeling like they've discovered something valuable, both about themselves and about you. They remember not just what you said, but how you made them feel during the interaction. And feelings, unlike facts, create lasting impressions and emotional connections. The ultimate goal of conversational alchemy isn't to trick people into liking you, or to manipulate outcomes. It's to become the type of person who naturally creates compelling interactions because you've developed the skills to see beyond surface levels and connect with the complex, fascinating human being that exists within everyone you meet. As we wrap up this exploration, remember that mastering these principles takes practice and genuine commitment to personal growth. You can't simply apply techniques without developing the underlying qualities that make them work. Curiosity, empathy, confidence, and authenticity aren't just tools for better conversations. They're the foundation of a more fulfilling way of moving through the world. Start paying attention to the conversations happening around you. Notice who creates energy and who drains it. Observe how master conversationalists navigate social dynamics. Most importantly, begin experimenting with these principles in your own interactions, but always from a place of genuine interest in becoming someone worth knowing. The matrix of ordinary conversation is waiting to be unlocked, and you now have the key. You're at a party and there she is. The woman who makes your heart skip a beat. She's standing off to the side, laughing at something on her phone, completely absorbed in her own world. Your palms start sweating, your mouth goes dry, and suddenly that confident guy you thought you were just disappeared into thin air. Sound familiar? Well, buckle up because today we're diving deep into the psychology of confidence and how to transform those nerve-wracking moments into opportunities for genuine connection. I'm about to share with you the exact mindset shifts and practical techniques that separate the guys who watch from the sidelines from those who step into the arena with unshakable confidence. And trust me, by the end of this journey, you'll understand why confidence isn't just attractive, it's absolutely magnetic. But here's what most dating advice gets completely wrong. They tell you to fake it until you make it, to pretend you're someone you're not, or to use some cheesy pickup line you found online. That's not confidence, that's desperation wearing a mask. Real confidence comes from a much deeper place, and once you tap into it, everything changes. Let me start by destroying a myth that's probably holding you back right now. You think confidence means never feeling nervous, never having doubts, never experiencing that flutter of anxiety when you see someone attractive. Wrong. Confidence isn't the absence of fear, it's feeling the fear and moving forward anyway. The most confident people I know still get butterflies, but they've learned to dance with those butterflies instead of being paralyzed by them. So what does real confidence actually look like? It's the guy who can walk up to anyone and start a genuine conversation without needing a specific outcome. It's the person who can laugh at their own mistakes without their entire self-worth crumbling. It's someone who values their own opinion enough to express it, even when it might not be popular. Most importantly, it's the individual who approaches dating not as a desperate hunt for validation, but as an opportunity to connect with another human being. Now let's get practical. The foundation of romantic confidence starts with something most guys completely overlook: your relationship with yourself. If you don't genuinely enjoy your own company, why would anyone else? This isn't about being narcissistic or thinking you're perfect. It's about developing a solid sense of self-worth that doesn't depend on external validation. Here's an exercise that changed everything for me. For the next week, I want you to take yourself on a solo date. Go to a restaurant alone, see a movie by yourself, visit a museum without company. Pay attention to how you feel. Are you constantly worried about what others think? Are you checking your phone every 5 seconds to avoid the discomfort of being alone with your thoughts? This exercise reveals where your confidence really stands. When you can genuinely enjoy your own presence, something magical happens. You stop approaching women from a place of neediness and start engaging from a place of abundance. You're not trying to fill a void in your life. You're looking to share your already fulfilling existence with someone special. But let's address the elephant in the room. Approach anxiety. That heart-pounding, mind-racing feeling that hits you right before you're about to introduce yourself to someone new. Here's the thing about anxiety, it's not your enemy. It's actually your nervous system preparing you for something important. The key is reframing that energy. Instead of interpreting those physical sensations as fear, start viewing them as excitement. Your body is literally energizing you for a potentially amazing interaction. The physiological response is identical whether you're terrified or thrilled. The difference is entirely in your interpretation of those signals. One technique that works incredibly well is what I call the 3-second rule. When you see someone you'd like to meet, count down from 3 and then move. Not after you've rehearsed the perfect opening line, not after you've analyzed every possible scenario, just move. Why does this work? Because hesitation is confidence's biggest enemy. The longer you wait, the more your mind creates catastrophic stories about what could go wrong. Now, what do you actually say when you approach someone? Here's where most guys get it backwards. They think they need the perfect line, the most clever opener, the most original icebreaker. But authenticity trumps creativity every single time. The most powerful thing you can do is simply acknowledge the present moment honestly. Maybe she's reading a book that catches your attention. Instead of some elaborate comment about literature, try something genuine like, "I couldn't help but notice that book. I've been meaning to read it myself. How are you finding it?" Maybe she's at a coffee shop during an unusual time. You might say, "This place is usually packed. It's nice to see it so peaceful." Are you a regular here too? The magic isn't in the words themselves. It's in your genuine curiosity about her as a person. Women can sense immediately whether you're approaching them as a complete human being or as a challenge to be conquered. One creates connection, the other creates walls. Body language plays a huge role here too, but not in the way most people think. You don't need to stand a certain way or maintain specific eye contact patterns. Your body language should simply reflect your internal state. When you're genuinely relaxed and interested in connecting, your body naturally assumes an open, welcoming posture. Here's something that will revolutionize your approach. Stop trying to impress and start trying to connect. Impressive is exhausting for both parties. Connection is effortless and energizing. When you're focused on impressing, you're performing. When you're focused on connecting, you're being authentic. Let me share a story that illustrates this perfectly. Imagine one of your friends, someone who's naturally confident with women, approach someone at a bookstore. He didn't stride over with some rehearsed line. He didn't try to be the most interesting person in the room. He simply noticed she was in the travel section, mentioned he was planning a trip himself, and asked for her recommendation. The conversation flowed naturally because it was based on genuine curiosity, not a hidden agenda. The conversation lasted 20 minutes, they exchanged numbers, and later went on several dates. But here's the crucial part. He would have been perfectly content even if she wasn't interested. His confidence wasn't dependent on the outcome because his self-worth wasn't on the line. This brings us to one of the most important concepts in dating confidence: outcome independence. This means being genuinely okay with whatever happens. If she's interested, fantastic. If she's not, that's perfectly fine too. Your mood, your self-esteem, your entire day doesn't hinge on one person's response to you. Outcome independence isn't about not caring. It's about caring without attachment. You care enough to put yourself out there authentically, but you're not attached to a specific result. This paradox is what makes confidence so attractive. When someone senses you'll be fine regardless of their response, they feel free to be authentic too. But what about rejection? Let's tackle this head on because fear of rejection is the #1 thing keeping guys stuck in their comfort zones. Here's a perspective shift that changes everything. Rejection isn't personal, it's informational. When someone isn't interested, they're not rejecting you as a person. They're simply providing information about compatibility, timing, or their current situation. Think about it logically. She doesn't know you well enough to reject the real you. She's responding to a brief interaction, not your entire character, your potential, or your worth as a human being. Sometimes she's in a relationship, sometimes she's having a terrible day, sometimes she's just not in the headspace to meet new people. None of these scenarios have anything to do with your value. I want you to start collecting rejections like trophies because each one represents courage in action. Every no brings you closer to finding someone who's genuinely excited to get to know you. The guys who seem naturally successful with dating aren't more attractive or charming, they're just more willing to face rejection. They've learned that the temporary sting of a no is far less painful than the permanent regret of never trying. Confidence also means knowing when to walk away gracefully. If someone isn't engaged in the conversation, if they seem uncomfortable, or if they clearly indicate they're not interested, the confident response is to respectfully exit the interaction. This isn't defeat, it's emotional intelligence. You're demonstrating that you value both your time and theirs. As we wrap up this journey through the landscape of romantic confidence, remember that true boldness isn't about being the loudest person in the room or using aggressive tactics. It's about being courageously authentic, genuinely curious about others, and comfortable enough with yourself to handle whatever response comes your way. Your confidence is like a muscle that grows stronger with use. Every genuine interaction, every moment you choose authenticity over performance, every time you feel the fear and approach anyway, you're building unshakable inner strength. So here's your challenge. This week, have 3 genuine conversations with strangers. Not necessarily romantic interests, just people you encounter in your daily life. Practice being present, curious, and outcome independent. Notice how this shifts your energy and how others respond to you differently. Remember, confidence isn't a destination you arrive at, it's a practice you cultivate daily. The woman of your dreams isn't waiting for the perfect version of you. She's waiting for the authentic, confident version of you that already exists. It's time to let him shine. You're having a great conversation with a woman you're interested in. Everything seems to be going perfectly, and then suddenly she says something that completely throws you off guard. Maybe she cancels plans last minute, acts cold out of nowhere, or asks you a question that feels like a trap. Your instinct might be to panic, apologize, or try to fix whatever went wrong. But what if I told you that this moment isn't a problem at all? What if it's actually an opportunity disguised as a challenge, and your response to it will determine whether she sees you as boyfriend material or just another guy who doesn't understand women? Welcome back to the channel where we decode the mysteries of attraction and give you the tools to succeed in your dating life. Today we're diving deep into something that most men completely miss, but every successful guy intuitively understands. The hidden evaluation system that women use to separate high-value men from everyone else. By the end of this video, you'll not only recognize these moments when they happen, but you'll know exactly how to handle them with confidence. Now, let's talk about something that might surprise you. Women are constantly evaluating the men in their lives, but not in the way most guys think. It's not about your job, your car, or how much money you make, although those things can play a role. The evaluation system women use is far more sophisticated and primal than that. It's about survival instincts that have been hardwired into human psychology for thousands of years. Think about it from an evolutionary perspective. Throughout human history, a woman's choice in a mate had massive consequences for her survival and the survival of her children. She needed someone who could protect her, provide for her, and stay committed during the most vulnerable times of her life. These instincts don't just disappear because we live in modern times with dating apps and text messages. They show up in subtle ways that most men never recognize. This is where the testing comes in, and here's the key point that changes everything. Women don't consciously decide to test you. It's not like she wakes up in the morning and thinks, "Today I'm going to test this guy to see if he's worthy." Instead, these behaviors emerge naturally from her subconscious mind as a way to gauge your character, your confidence, and your ability to handle pressure. The first type of evaluation you need to understand is what I call the pressure test. This is when a woman creates a small amount of conflict or stress to see how you react. Maybe she disagrees with something you said, even though she doesn't really care about the topic. Maybe she acts slightly moody or withdrawn without explaining why. Maybe she mentions another guy in conversation to see if you get jealous or insecure. Most men fail this test immediately because they go into fix-it mode. They start apologizing, explaining themselves, or trying to solve a problem that doesn't actually exist. They might say things like, "What's wrong? Did I do something? I'm sorry if I upset you." This reaction signals to her subconscious mind that you're not confident in yourself and that you'll crumble under real pressure. The right response is counterintuitive but incredibly powerful. You stay calm, maintain your composure, and don't take responsibility for emotions that aren't yours. If she's acting moody, you might say something like, "You seem like you have something on your mind. I'm here if you want to talk about it, but I'm not going to guess what's bothering you." This shows that you're supportive but not desperate, caring but not codependent. The second type of evaluation is the compliance test, and this one trips up even guys who think they understand women. This is when she makes small requests or demands to see if you'll immediately bend to her will. It might be asking you to change your plans, buy her something, or do her a favor right after meeting her. Again, most men think being agreeable makes them attractive, so they say yes to everything. But here's what's really happening in her mind. She's testing whether you have boundaries, and whether you respect yourself enough to say no when appropriate. A man who agrees to everything might seem nice, but he also seems weak and predictable. She's wondering, if he gives in to me this easily, how will he handle other people trying to take advantage of him? How will he protect me if he can't even protect his own interests? This doesn't mean you should be difficult or disagreeable just for the sake of it. It means you should have legitimate boundaries and stick to them. If she asks you to cancel plans with your friends to hang out with her on short notice, you might say, "I'd love to see you, but I already committed to my friends tonight. How about we make plans for tomorrow instead?" This shows that you value your word and your relationships, which are actually attractive qualities. The third type of evaluation is the loyalty test, and this is where things get really interesting. Women need to know that you won't abandon them when things get tough or when other options present themselves. She might mention other guys showing interest in her, or she might point out attractive women around you to see how you react. The mistake most men make is either getting jealous and possessive, which shows insecurity, or acting like they don't care at all, which can seem cold and disconnected. The balanced response acknowledges reality without showing insecurity. If she mentions another guy hitting on her, you might say something like, "I'm not surprised. You're an attractive woman and guys are going to notice that. I'm confident enough in what we have that I don't worry about it." Now let's talk about the biggest game changer when it comes to passing these evaluations. Understanding that your energy and emotional state matter more than your specific words or actions. Women are incredibly intuitive when it comes to reading energy and detecting authenticity. If you're trying to say the right things but your energy is nervous, desperate, or seeking approval, she'll pick up on that disconnect immediately. This is why technique and pickup lines only get you so far. You can memorize the perfect responses to every situation, but if your underlying energy is coming from a place of neediness or insecurity, those responses won't land the way you want them to. The most important thing is developing genuine confidence and self-respect that comes from within. Here's a practical framework for developing that energy. Start seeing these moments not as tests you need to pass, but as opportunities to demonstrate who you really are. When you're confident in your value and secure in yourself, these situations become much easier to navigate because you're not performing or trying to impress anyone. You're simply being yourself and letting her decide if that's what she wants. Another crucial element is understanding the difference between confidence and arrogance. Confident men are secure but humble, strong but kind. They don't need to prove anything to anyone, but they also don't put others down to build themselves up. Arrogant men, on the other hand, often overcompensate for insecurity by being loud, aggressive, or dismissive. Women can spot this difference immediately, and while some might be initially attracted to arrogant behavior, it doesn't create the kind of deep, lasting attraction that leads to meaningful relationships. True confidence is magnetic because it creates a sense of safety and stability that allows both people to be vulnerable and authentic with each other. Let me give you a real-world example that illustrates all of these principles. Imagine you're dating someone and she suddenly becomes distant and stops responding to your texts as quickly as she used to. The insecure response would be to bombard her with messages asking what's wrong, apologizing for things you didn't do, or trying to win back her attention through grand gestures. The confident response is to give her space while maintaining your own emotional stability. You might send one message saying something like, "Hey, you seem busy lately. No pressure, just reach out when you have time." Then you continue living your life, pursuing your goals, and spending time with other people who appreciate your company. This approach works because it shows that you're not dependent on her attention for your happiness, but you're also not cold or uncaring. You're simply secure enough in yourself to let her have whatever space she needs while maintaining your own dignity and self-respect. The beautiful thing about understanding these dynamics is that it takes the pressure off both of you. When you're not constantly worried about saying the wrong thing or failing some invisible test, you can relax and be more authentic. And when she sees that you understand her on this deeper level, she can relax too and stop feeling like she needs to guard herself so carefully. Remember, the goal isn't to manipulate or trick anyone. It's to become the kind of person who naturally handles these situations with grace and confidence. It's to develop the emotional maturity and self-awareness that makes you genuinely attractive, not just to women, but to everyone in your life. So the next time you find yourself in one of these moments, take a deep breath, trust yourself, and respond from a place of genuine confidence rather than fear or insecurity. Your future self will thank you for it. What if I told you that the moment you stop chasing is the exact moment everything changes? That walking away isn't giving up. It's actually the most powerful move you can make in any dynamic with women. Today I'm going to show you why this counterintuitive strategy flips the entire script and puts you back in the driver's seat. Most guys have been programmed to believe that persistence equals success. That if you just try hard enough, text enough, or prove your worth enough, she'll eventually come around. But here's the brutal truth nobody talks about. This approach is actually killing your attractiveness faster than you can say, "Good morning, beautiful," for the 7th time this week. The power of walking away isn't about manipulation or playing games. It's about understanding a fundamental principle of human psychology that's been true since the beginning of time. People value what they can lose. They pursue what moves away from them. And they lose interest in what's always available. Think about it this way. When you're constantly available, constantly texting, constantly trying to prove yourself, what message are you really sending? You're communicating that your time has no value, that you have no other options, and that she's more important than you are. Even if that's not true, that's the perception you're creating. Now here's where most guys get confused. They think walking away means being cold, mean, or playing hard to get in some juvenile way. That's not what this is about at all. Walking away is about having genuine boundaries, self-respect, and understanding your own worth. It's about not tolerating behavior that doesn't align with what you want in your life. Let me paint you a picture of what this looks like in real life. You're talking to a woman, things seem to be going well, but then she starts becoming flaky. She cancels plans last minute, takes hours or days to respond to messages, or gives you mixed signals. The average guy's response? Double down. Text more. Ask what's wrong. Try to fix it. Basically, chase harder. The man who understands the power of walking away. He simply stops engaging. Not out of anger or spite, but because he recognizes that her behavior is telling him everything he needs to know about her level of interest and respect. He values himself enough to not accept breadcrumbs when he's offering a full meal. Here's what happens next, and this is where it gets interesting. When you genuinely walk away, when you stop being the pursuer and start focusing on your own life, something magical occurs. You create what I call a vacuum effect. The dynamic completely shifts. She goes from being the one who's being chased to suddenly wondering why you're not chasing anymore. But this only works if you're genuinely walking away, not just pretending to walk away while secretly hoping she'll come back. Women have an incredible ability to sense authenticity, and if you're walking away just as another tactic to get her attention, she'll see right through it. The power comes from actually being willing to lose her, not just pretending to be willing. This principle extends far beyond just romantic relationships. It applies to every area of your life where people might be taking advantage of your time, energy, or resources. The friend who only calls when they need something. The boss who expects you to work overtime without compensation. The family member who treats you poorly but expects you to always be there. Walking away from these dynamics sends a clear message about your standards. Now let's talk about why this is so effective with women specifically. Society has conditioned most men to be the initiators, the pursuers, the ones who have to prove themselves worthy. This creates a dynamic where many women become accustomed to being chased, to having multiple options constantly validating them, to never having to wonder about a man's interest because he's always making it obvious. When you break this pattern by walking away, you immediately stand out from every other guy she's dealing with. You become the anomaly, the one who didn't play by the expected rules. This creates curiosity, and curiosity is one of the most powerful forces in attraction. She starts wondering what makes you different. Why aren't you like all the others? What do you know that they don't? But here's the crucial part that most guys miss. Walking away isn't about trying to manipulate her into coming back to you. It's about filtering out people who don't genuinely value what you bring to the table. If she lets you walk away without any effort to reconnect, then you have your answer about where you stood in her priorities. And that's valuable information that saves you from wasting more time and energy. The men who master this principle understand that walking away is actually an expression of abundance, not scarcity. It comes from a place of knowing that you have options, that you're building a life so compelling that you don't need any one person to validate it. This mindset is incredibly attractive because it signals high value, self-respect, and emotional strength. Let's address the elephant in the room. Some people will call this toxic or manipulative. But there's a huge difference between walking away to manipulate someone and walking away because you refuse to accept treatment that doesn't align with your standards. One is about trying to control others, the other is about controlling yourself and your own responses. The key is in your intention. Are you walking away because you're genuinely not okay with the dynamic and are willing to accept the consequences? Or are you walking away as a chess move to try to get a specific response? The first approach comes from strength and self-respect. The second comes from weakness and neediness disguised as strategy. When you master the art of walking away, you'll notice that not only do your romantic relationships improve, but every relationship in your life becomes healthier. You start attracting people who genuinely value and respect you because you've demonstrated that you value and respect yourself. You stop being a magnet for people who take advantage of others because you've shown you won't tolerate that behavior. This isn't about becoming cold or uncaring. You can still be kind, generous, and loving while maintaining strong boundaries. In fact, the most attractive men are those who can be warm and giving while also being completely unmoved by poor treatment or manipulation attempts. They're like rocks in a storm, steady, unmovable, but not harsh or cruel. The surprising power of walking away is that it's not really about the other person at all. It's about you reclaiming your power, your time, and your energy. It's about refusing to participate in dynamics that diminish you. And paradoxically, when you stop trying so hard to be chosen, you become infinitely more choosable. So here's your challenge. Look at the relationships and situations in your life where you've been accepting less than what you want or deserve. Where have you been chasing, proving, or trying to convince someone of your worth? Start practicing the art of walking away. Not as a game or a tactic, but as an expression of your genuine standards and self-respect. Watch how quickly everything changes when you flip the script and start choosing yourself first. The most powerful position you can ever be in is knowing you're willing to walk away. Because when you truly don't need someone to stay, that's when they actually want to. Here's the uncomfortable truth about modern dating. Being the nice guy doesn't guarantee attraction. In fact, it often leads to frustration, confusion, and the same heartbreaking pattern we keep seeing over and over again. Guys pouring their hearts out, asking why the woman they've been nothing but sweet and caring toward just friend-zoned them for some guy who barely texts back. And here's the kicker. This isn't some rare occurrence. This is happening to millions of men every single day, and they have no idea why. If you've ever found yourself wondering why being the perfect gentleman seems to repel women instead of attract them, you're about to discover something that will completely reshape how you think about dating and relationships. Because what I'm going to share with you today isn't just theory. It's based on observable patterns that play out in real life, over and over again. Let's start with a scenario that might sound familiar. There's a guy, let's call him Mike. Mike sees an attractive woman at work. He starts bringing her coffee every morning, remembers every detail she mentions about her life, offers to help with her projects, and basically becomes her personal assistant. In his mind, he's showing her what an amazing boyfriend he'd be. But here's what actually happens. She starts dating the guy from accounting who she barely knows, but who challenged her opinion during a meeting, and then walked away without seeking her approval. This drives Mike absolutely insane because in his logical mind, his behavior should be winning. He's demonstrating value, showing care, proving his worth. But attraction doesn't operate on logic, and this is where the good guy syndrome reveals its first major flaw. The foundation of this syndrome lies in a fundamental misunderstanding of what creates romantic attraction versus what creates comfort and security. When a man defaults to being overly accommodating, agreeable, and self-sacrificing, he's actually triggering a woman's platonic response rather than her romantic one. Think about it. These are the exact same behaviors she experiences with her closest female friends or her brother. Here's where it gets interesting from a psychological standpoint. Women are subconsciously screening for a partner who can handle challenges, navigate conflict, and maintain his own identity under pressure. When a man immediately folds to her preferences, agrees with everything she says, and prioritizes her comfort above his own boundaries, he's inadvertently signaling that he might not be equipped to handle the complexities of a romantic relationship, or life in general. This creates what researchers call the attraction paradox. The very behaviors that men think should make them more attractive, being accommodating, available, and agreeable, often have the opposite effect. Meanwhile, the man who maintains his own opinions, creates some mystery about his intentions, and doesn't immediately surrender his power in the interaction becomes infinitely more intriguing. But here's what most guys don't understand about this dynamic. It's not that women consciously prefer to be treated poorly or that they enjoy drama for the sake of it. What's actually happening is much more sophisticated. Women are biologically wired to be attracted to men who demonstrate what psychologists call social proof and outcome independence. These are indicators that suggest a man has options, confidence, and the ability to thrive regardless of any particular woman's response to him. The good guy, unfortunately, demonstrates the exact opposite. By being overly invested from the beginning, by making her the center of his universe before she's earned that position, and by seeking her validation at every turn, he's communicating that he doesn't have other options and that his happiness depends entirely on her approval. This creates an unconscious pressure that most women find suffocating rather than flattering. Now let's talk about the timing element, because this is crucial. Attraction is often about the right behavior at the right time. Early in any potential romantic connection, mystery and challenge create intrigue. Being too available, too predictable, and too eager to please eliminates the very tension that fuels romantic interest. It's like trying to create a fire by smothering it with kindness instead of giving it the space and air it needs to ignite. This doesn't mean women want to be treated badly. That's a dangerous oversimplification that leads to toxic behavior. What they respond to is balanced masculine energy. This means being kind and respectful while also being willing to disagree, maintaining your own interests and goals, and not being afraid to create some healthy tension in conversations. Think about the difference between these two approaches. The good guy says, "Whatever you want to do is fine with me," when planning a date. The balanced approach says, "I was thinking we could check out that new art gallery downtown, but if you hate art, we could do the hiking trail instead. What sounds better to you?" One approach surrenders all decision-making power, while the other leads while still considering her input. The psychological principle at play here is called intermittent reinforcement, and it's one of the most powerful drivers of human behavior. When someone receives consistent, predictable, positive reinforcement, like the constant validation and attention from a good guy, the brain actually becomes less excited by it over time. But when that reinforcement becomes unpredictable, when someone has to work slightly to earn positive responses, the brain releases more dopamine and creates stronger emotional associations. This is why the guy who's sometimes warm and sometimes slightly distant, who's genuinely interested but not desperate, creates more psychological impact than the guy who's constantly available and consistently validating. It's not manipulation, it's understanding how human psychology actually works in romantic contexts. Another critical aspect of the good guy syndrome is the lack of boundaries. Men who fall into this pattern often say yes to everything, tolerate disrespectful behavior, and fail to communicate their own needs clearly. They think this makes them easier to love, but it actually makes them harder to respect. And respect is a non-negotiable foundation for romantic attraction. Women need to be able to see how a man handles adversity, disagreement, and challenges to his boundaries. When a man has no boundaries or fails to enforce them, it creates uncertainty about his ability to protect and lead in more serious life situations. This isn't about being controlling or domineering. It's about demonstrating that you have standards for how you allow yourself to be treated. The solution isn't to become cold, distant, or manipulative. The solution is to develop what's called attractive confidence. This means being genuinely interested in getting to know her while maintaining your own life, goals, and standards. It means being willing to walk away if the situation isn't serving you, not as a manipulation tactic, but as a genuine expression of self-respect. Here's the practical reality. Attraction is built through a combination of showing interest and creating space, being warm and being challenging, demonstrating care while maintaining independence. The good guy gives away all his power up front and wonders why the woman doesn't value what she received so easily. The most successful men in dating understand that early romantic interactions are about creating mutual intrigue and respect, not about proving their worth through endless gestures and accommodations. They understand that a woman needs to earn their full investment just as much as they need to earn hers. This mindset shift changes everything. Instead of trying to convince a woman why she should like you, you're evaluating whether she's someone you genuinely want to invest your time and energy in. Instead of seeking her approval, you're offering her the opportunity to be part of your already fulfilling life. The good guy syndrome ultimately fails because it's based on the flawed premise that romantic attraction can be negotiated or earned through good behavior alone. But attraction is an emotion, and emotions respond to different triggers than logical appreciation does. Understanding this isn't about becoming someone you're not. It's about expressing your authentic masculine energy in a way that creates genuine attraction, rather than comfortable friendship. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to be chosen out of guilt, obligation, or settling. You want to be chosen out of genuine desire and excitement. The men who succeed in dating and relationships aren't necessarily the most handsome or wealthy. They're the ones who understand these psychological dynamics and express their interest in ways that create mutual attraction rather than one-sided investment. Remember, being a good man and being attractive to women aren't mutually exclusive. The goal is to be both, someone with strong character who also understands how to create and maintain romantic chemistry. That's the real secret to escaping the friend zone forever.